Hi, everybody. Today I want to talk about what are the keys to longevity. I spent some time on the internet checking out Google, uh, all the AI platforms that I can get onto, and Bing. And I've come up with a pretty good idea of what it takes or what it actually people are saying that are older in their 90s and in their hundreds, which are called centenarians. What are their keys to longevity? And some of them are kind of funny. All right, let me give you a little bit of a background. How old was the oldest person who ever lived? The oldest person ever verified was Jean Calment from France, who lived to be 122 years and 164 days old. She was born on February 21st, 1875, and died August 4th, 1997. Some people have claimed to be older, but birth records like hers have not been reliably confirmed. You just can't take that claim for a fact. Now, a fun fact about Jean is she met Vincent van Gogh when she was a teenager, and she lived long enough to see the internet. Now, who is expected to live longer, men or women? On average, women tend to live longer than men in nearly every country and historically period where records exist. Right now, global statistics show women's average life expectancy to be between 73 and 75 years old, and the men's average life expectancy to be between 68 and 70 years old. Now, the gap varies by country. In some places, it's only 3 to 4 years, and others, it's closer to 7 to 8 years. Now, researchers think this difference is due to a mix of biological factors. Women have some genetic and hormonal protections against certain diseases, behavioral factors. Men historically have higher rates of smoking, drinking, risky jobs, and dangerous behaviors. Health care seeking habits, and this is true because men are stubborn, women are more likely to visit doctors regularly. Let me introduce myself. I'm John, and welcome back to In John's Universe. Now, I gave you information about the oldest woman who ever lived. The oldest man who ever was verified through documents was Jeromon Kiramura of Japan. He lived to be 116 years and 54 days old. He was born April 19th, 1897, and he died June 12th, 2013. He was the last living man confirmed to have been born in the 19th century, and he attributed his long life to eating small portions, staying active, and always being curious about the world. Let me continue with some of the statistics that I was able to uncover. Which country has the highest life expectancy? Here's what's current out there. Here's the current picture. Monaco stands out as a country, or rather microstate, which it's called, with the highest average life expectancy in the world. Recent projections for 2025 estimate the average life expectancy in Monaco to be around 87 years. Other places closely following include San Marino, plus or minus 86 years, Hong Kong, plus or minus 86 years, Japan, around 85 years, South Korea, Switzerland, Austria, and others average in the low to mid 80s. How does the United States compare? In 2023, average life expectancy at birth in the U.S. was 78.4 years. That is 75.8 years for men and 81.1 years women, a rebound of zero point 0.1 years from 2022. Their average life expectancy was reported at 77.5. So it's almost one full year. This figure, unfortunately, remains lower than peer wealthy nations like Australia, Canada, Japan, Switzerland, the UK, where life expectancy in 2023 was about 82.5 years, around 4.1 years higher than in the United States. And this is ironic. Notably, the US spends far more on healthcare per person or as a percentage of GDP than comparable countries, yet still ranks last in life expectancies among large, wealthy nations. In short, although life expectancy in the US has rebounded from recent lows, it remains significantly behind other high income countries, even while health expenditures remain among the highest globally. That's a little bit of a background to set the scenario for what I'm going to talk about next. What do people in their late 90s and hundreds attribute to longevity? Now, we're talking about people in their hundreds, anybody that's a centenarian, anybody over 100. When researchers interview people in their late 90s and into their hundreds, their secrets to longevity are often a mix of lifestyle habits, mindset, and a bit of luck in a genetic lottery. Here are the most common themes they share. And if you stick around toward the end, I'm going to get into that genetic bit a little bit because the genetic or the genes doesn't significantly impact your longevity. It's present there, but it doesn't have a significant or as a significant impact as you might think. Now, number one on people's list are staying physically active, not necessarily gym workouts. Many centenarians keep moving through gardening, walking, chores, or light labor. Motion keeps joints, muscles, and circulation in better shape. Now, I've known people in their 80s that are still working. They still get along. They may not work full time, but they're not going to retire, or they do something else, volunteer, or whatever they do, in addition to exercise and to keep themselves moving. And that's the key. Eating in moderation comes up next in the list. Many follow diets heavy in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and lean proteins. For instance, in Okinawa, elders practice harihachi-bu, eating until 80% full. Limiting processed foods and low sugar intakes are common. Strong social connections come in number 3. Loneliness, and as I mentioned this before, can be as harmful as smoking. Centenarians also have a tight-knit family or community networks. They maintain purpose through helping others, volunteering, or sharing wisdom. 4. Positive mindset and adaptability. They tend to stay curious, flexible, and optimistic. Many report not worrying too much and focusing on what they can control and what they can't control. Avoiding harmful habits. Low to no smoking. Moderate alcohol, if any, often a glass of wine with meals. A lot of older people talk about they have a glass of wine or they have a beer at night or they have a little bit of whiskey, but in moderation. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go out and do that. I don't do that anymore, so I don't drink alcohol. And the reason being is because I'm taking medication and my balance is poor to begin with. And all I need is to drink something that will impair my common sense and impair my ability to walk properly and take a step and fall and break something. I just don't want to do that. So if you're considering, hey, yeah, maybe I should have a glass of wine every night, talk to your doctor first. I don't want to advocate that you become an alcoholic because that's not going to do you any good. That's going to be counterproductive. Number 6 on the list, purpose and routine. A reason to get out of bed daily, whether caring for a garden, teaching, or spending time with grandchildren. Regular daily rhythms seem to help keep the body in balance. Now, all right, genetics. While lifestyle matters greatly, centenarians also have family members who also lived long lives, hinting at protective genes. Now, I don't know if this is going to apply to me, but on my mother's side, My grandfather lived to be in his early 90s, and his mother lived to be in her early 90s. So there is good genes on that side. However, on my father's side, the genes weren't so good. Now, let me get back to what I was talking about with genes. Science estimates that genetics account for 20 to 30% of a person's longevity. Here's a bit more detail. Studies of twins and families show that while your genes influence lifespan, the majority, around 70 to 80%, is shaped by lifestyle, environment, and chance. Certain gene variants are linked to longer life, better disease resistance, and slower aging process, but no longevity gene guarantees living past 100. Interesting enough, from what I've learned, genetics seem to matter more at extreme ages among centenarians. There's more substantial evidence of beneficial gene factors helping protect against age related diseases. So while you can't control your DNA, the good news is that lifestyle choices like diet, activity, stress management, and social connections have a huge impact, probably much bigger than your genes. What I'm going to do next is give you a side by side comparison of what science says versus what centenarians say themselves. Sometimes the contrast is pretty entertaining. Uh, what science says: eat a balanced diet rich in plants, healthy fats, and lean proteins. A person by the name of Jean Cantrell, who lived to be 105, said, eat bacon every day. What science says: maintain regular physical activity, walking, gardening, stretching. Or Eileen Ash, who lived to be 107, said, keep dancing. Science: avoid smoking and limit alcohol intake. A glass of red wine at lunch every single day. Jean Calment, that was the person who lived to be the longest at 122. Get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep nightly. And the centenarians say, nap when you're tired, the rest will wait. Science: keep a healthy weight and overeating. Yeah, again, that's what most of the centenarians say, especially the people from Okinawa who said, eat until you're 80% full. Manage stress with healthy coping skills, such as breathing habits, hobbies, and mindfulness. Centenarians are saying, don't sweat the small stuff. Most things are small. Stay socially connected and avoid isolation. Talk to everybody. Talk to even strangers in the store. I mean, that's why I go out every day. I talk to everybody I come in contact, whether it's just to say hi, how are you, how's the weather today, how is this, affecting your day, just, and if I know the person, from day after day of interaction, I'll get into a little bit more of a protracted conversation with them. Centenarians also mentioned a little bit more about staying social. Relationships are crucial. Family, friends, neighbors, even having people to talk to, laugh with, and lean on keeps the heart young. They also said, give more than you take. Many say being generous, kind, and helpful added joy to their lives. Giving to others gives life meaning. A couple of centenarians mentioned inner peace and faith. Believe in something bigger. Many older folks mention faith or spirituality as a grounding force. It gives them strength in hard times and peace in old age. I can attest to that because I've gotten a lot of comments that are saying people believe in their faith and they do this and they believe in God and they pray every day and so forth and so on. And that's great. I mean, I do too. I believe in my faith, and that's something that's personal. But a lot of centenarians say that's the key. Live in the present. They don't just dwell in the past or fear the future. One day at a time is more than just a saying. It's how they live. Now, there's some bonus nuggets from real centenarians. I'm going to read these. Don't stop learning. Keep your brain active. Read, do puzzles, and stay curious. I stay curious all the time. When I prepare to do a YouTube video, I do a lot of research into it. Yeah, I may cheat once in a while and get on AI and get some of the answers that I need, but then it's in my own words. I put it together and I put it into a format that I think will do well, and that's how I form my videos. Be stubborn in the right ways. Don't give up easily, but don't sweat the small stuff either, which I've mentioned before. Again, nap when you need to. Rest is underrated. I take a nap every once in a while. I'll be sitting here, even after I finish videoing, when I'm waiting for it to upload and stuff, I'll just sit here in my chair. And before I know it, it's 15 or 20 minutes later, and I'll wake up with a start and there's drool coming down onto my shirt. And I'll say, oh, God, how long have I been out? And I'll look at the clock and I'll say, God, I've been out 15 minutes. Yeah. One of the key things is laugh often, even at yourself. So that's important. Uh, and a couple other things that's one person said, I picked the right parents. And the other person said, feed the chickens. They count on me. I'm going to start wrapping up this video by talking about Satchel Page again. Now, Satchel, as I told you last week, was a professional baseball player, and he played his last game at the age of 59 years old back in, I believe it was 1965. Now, these are his 6 rules for staying young. Avoid fried meats, which anger up the blood. If your stomach disputes you, lie down and pacify it with cool thoughts. Keep the juices flowing by jangling around gently as you move. Go very lightly on the vices, such as carrying on in society. The social ramble ain't restful. Avoid running at all times. And don't look back. Something might be gaining on you. This mix of humor and practical wisdom reflects Satchel's view that life should be lived fully, but without unnecessary worry. All right, so that's it for today. And again, thank you for being here. If you've already subscribed to my channel, I appreciate your support. It's just overwhelming. It's taken me completely by surprise. And if you're new to the channel and you're just checking me out, thank you. I appreciate you being here. And if you could find it to subscribe to the channel, all well and good. I'd appreciate that. Leave some comments about your keys to longevity. I've gotten a lot of them that come through the comments before. People say they're still active. They do this, they do that, they garden, they still work, they volunteer. But share some of your information and I'll try to respond to them. But a good thing is it gets out to everybody. Everybody sees those comments. So that's a good thing to do. Now, I hope you like this video. There's a little thumbs up button there somewhere. It's down on this side. No, actually, it's on this side somewhere. So if you hit that thumbs up button, that helps with the YouTube algorithm. And also, there's a little subscriber notifications bell. That's down. I finally figured out where the heck it is. It's on this side. So if you hit that bell, you'll get notified whenever I put up new videos. And if you want to keep following me, just hit that bell. And every time I put something up new, you'll get notification that John from In John's Universe has put up a new video. All right, go. Well, again, one more thing. I'm still working on that training course that I'm going to be putting up very shortly, probably within 2 to 3 weeks. And if you have anything else that you'd like for me to talk about in future videos, put them in the comments. I look at all the comments and I take some of your viewpoints very carefully. What I think I'm going to do next time is talk about maybe some of my background and people that have influenced me throughout my life, like my great-grandmother, my grandfathers, my grandmother, my father, mother, naturally, cousins and aunts and uncles, and how they impacted my life. And I've got a script already written. I just want to make sure I give justice to each one of those people. So probably next week, that's what I'm going to be doing. And it may be sooner than that. But again, thank you again for listening. I appreciate it. And everybody have a good day. Bye.